Well, hi there, everybody. This is Phil Simborg, and I'm in New York right now. I'm thrilled that I had a lovely trip to Istanbul. I did the commentary at UBC. In the meantime, my good buddy and co-teacher Steve Sachs has been in LA, also staying very busy, doing a lot of teaching and work on backgammon and other things. And how are you, Steve? What's new?
Oh, other than a minor tennis injury, I'm doing great.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. I get a tennis injury almost every time I play. I play every morning, so it
But
happens.
it's fun. It's a lot of fun.
Well, we're going to have to play some tennis. Okay,
Okay.
so the reason we're here, I'm in New York. I gave a lesson today to a student in a live lesson. We played a 7-point match. We talked about it. We analyzed it, and there were 7 positions that I think are interesting to discuss. And I'm going to give Steve a quiz. He's going to see these 7 positions for the first time. He's going to tell us what he thinks. We'll look at the answer, and then he's going to either answer some questions for me or explain the right play, whether he got it right or not. And I invited Steve because I think he's one of the best in the world at explaining positions. I love doing commentary with him, and he just, it goes without saying, he's one of the best players in the world, but he's also an incredible teacher. So that's why he's here. So,
Thanks, Phil.
yeah, and by the way, you're watching this on YouTube as a video. So if you need more time before you hear Steve's answer, you want to review the problem, just pause the video because I'm not going to go that slow. I want to get it fairly fast, but you can pause it each time and think about your play first. Okay, let's get started. Let me set this up. We're going to use extreme gammon, of course. I'm going to get Steve's gorgeous picture out of the way, and I'm going to open up the first position. Again, it's a 7-point match. And we got to this very interesting position where I was white holding the 2 cube here. It doesn't matter who's who. And I'm questioning whether or not I should redouble. So when I ask a doubling question, my question is always, should white redouble? And if white does redouble, should red take or pass? So I'm going to shut up, let Steve and you think about it, and then we'll hear what Steve has to say.
Oh boy, my favorite positions. Non-gammonish, bear off, redouble questions. Well, if white were the same position and red had 3 on the ace point, it would be a very small pass, at least for money. So how much does this improve the position for red? Let's see. So now they're bearing off with any non-ace or deuce except for 4-3. So that's 14 good numbers. White, of course, wins, 4 numbers right away. So among the 32 numbers they don't win, red has 8/9 of 14. So of course it's going to be a take. It just seems like it's sort of a semi-last shake position. I would redouble and take.
Okay, now instead of just hitting the answer, I've rolled these out, not completely 1296, but I've rolled them out enough to get a good answer. So I'm going to show you the rollout. And we're batting 1,000 for Steve. You got it right. It's a redouble and a take. And I think you already went through the logic in the way you approach this. Are there formulas for this, or you just
There probably are, but there's so many different variations of the positions that I got your previous email and I was thinking about, wow, this is not just a simple like fix as far as like how you think about it. There was some of the shorter bear-offs, and maybe this is getting off topic, but there was some of the shorter bear-offs where it was like you were down 3 pips and it wasn't a redouble, but you were down 1 pip and it was the big redouble. So I was thinking maybe some of the positions where you're down 2 pips could have been redoubled, but specifically to this one, it seems like a very simple redouble. And of course, red has extra equity when white doesn't bear off in 2 shakes. And I didn't calculate all that, but I mean, bottom line is, it just seems like a pretty simple redouble because of volatility and the mathematics. But as far as a formula for it, yes, something could be derived as a formula for it, but I don't have a ready answer for you.
I will send you the formulas. I got some really good ones from John O'Hagan and from Art Benjamin, and he basically used Art Benjamin's formulas. And then Jim Pasco added a couple of very, very insightful comments, and I'll certainly share that all with you. But
That's
most,
awesome. Those are great backgammon players and mathematicians to
yeah,
handle these kind of situations.
and by the way, most of the top players like yourself probably don't use the formulas over the board. They just sort of figure it out like you did. But the formulas, guys like John O'Hagan and some of the mathematical guys actually do use the formulas, and they work. They're pretty good. Okay, so let's move on. We can do a whole lecture on just these late roll bear offs with 2 or 3 checkers. Let's move on to the next problem. But congratulations, you got it right very quickly too. Okay, number 2.
Another non-contact bear off.
Okay, this is 5 away, 6 away. You can see the score. I'm white. Red is on roll and thinking about cubing. So should he double? And if he doubles, should white take or pass?
Okay, so being 6 away against 5 away is an incentive to double. Also position, race, and threats. Position, Red's got a 4-point board versus White's 1-point board. White, way ahead the race. Volatility for, as far as threats are concerned. An ace is very strong. Double fours is strong. Double deuce, I guess. So I would definitely double, but I would also definitely take. I mean, you have the 22-point anchor. Gammons are not that high. The biggest liability I see in the position maybe isn't the blot on the 5-point, but the blot on the deuce point. Because even if you get missed, containing Red's back checkers or back checker is going to be somewhat difficult, but I just can't see passing this game here. Red doesn't have other than hitting the ace shed, Red does not have enough threats to say game over. So I say strong double take.
Okay, let me show you the answer, and I got a couple comments to add to that. And again, you're absolutely right. This is why Steve is ranked as one of the best players in the world. He gets these right. One of the other features that makes me take is when your opponent has made his ace and deuce point and you've made an anchor above that, that gives you a little bit better game. But I guarantee you lots of players would pass this. I'm not going to talk about my student or anything in particular, but lots of people pass this cube. That's another reason to double if you're, in fact, one of the interesting things, I just did the UBC commentary, and I sent out a questionnaire to all of the players, the 16 players that were invited, and I got some very interesting. I asked one question that I loved: if you have one tip to offer, what would it be? And Dirk Sheeman said, "When in doubt, double." I just love that tip. You put pressure on, and I don't know who said it first, but your opponent cannot make a mistake if you don't double. So you give them a chance to make a mistake. Is the other reason I cubed this. Anything else to add, Steve?
Yeah, I do think that's a good mantra to go by. When in doubt, double, but also when in doubt, take is another good one. Because unless your opponent either is like oblivious to the fact that they may have had a double previously, so unless a joker has been rolled, if they didn't have a double the previous roll, then more than likely you will still have a take. So I think a lot of positions are takes that other people might not consider to be takes.
Yeah. Let's not forget Mary Hickey's dictum. I think that's the best one. When in doubt, make the right play.
Oh, she's terrific.
Yeah, I always like that one.
Too
Okay,
logical.
let's go to number 3. This is Red to play 6-5, and these kind of positions come up often. Do you run with the front checker or the back checker, and when do you do which?
Okay, so for me, I'm happy to play 22-11 for a couple of reasons. 3 reasons that I can think of. One is that you have better coverage of your own bar point. You're a little bit ahead in the race, so that's not a major issue at this point. You also take your checker out of the attack zone. If you keep the checker, if you just play to the midpoint, double threes in 5-3 are pretty crushing, especially double threes. Double fives would be just about the same either way. But so I'm running to the 22 point to give myself a better chance to make my own bar point, to stay out of the attack zone. And what was the third one? Yeah, you can keep the checker on the 24 back there because they're not at a threat of being blocked in at this point. So some people might want to run the 24 out saying, oh, I hope I don't get blocked in, but you're not really a candidate to get blocked in just now. So those are the three reasons that I like for playing 22-11.
Okay, of course you're right. You're absolutely right again, and I'll show you the rollout. But I remember many positions where you do run the back checker. What could I change about this position to make it right to run from the 24?
Well, certainly if White had an equivalent home board position, I'm not sure about that, but if they had a better home board position, I probably would be
closer.
Yeah, thinking about running, with the 24.
Wow, you're a genius. It's small, but that did change the position. Let me show you the rollout. You nailed it in 2 seconds. You got the right answer of how you would change it. But it is right to run with the front checker by quite a bit. And the change that you recommended of equaling the boards switches it completely. And this is one of the reasons that Steve's such a great teacher. We're not looking to see what's right. We're looking to see why it's right. And we make Steve came up with a hypothesis as to why it's right and what would change it. And that helps you understand it. This is perfect teaching. Thank you, Steve.
Yeah, thank you.
Anything else to add?
Yeah, there's quite a few different, variations of boardage being a little bit better, a little bit worse for the 8-point strip, but it's too much to go into right now. But there are a lot of things to think about for sure, more than what just discussed.
Great. Okay, let's move on. Still batting 1,000. If you get them all right, you'll be just as good as Matt Cohn-Geyer, who is the only other one that batted 1,000 on one of these.
The only thing I want to be better than at Matt Cohn-Geyer is gin rummy. So we play twice a year. We play gin rummy, and we just about break even every time. He's gotten good.
That's funny. I've taught both of you gin rummy.
Yeah, well, great teacher.
I'll take credit for whoever wins. Okay, right on roll. Cube action. The score now is 5 away, 5 away.
All right, so position race and threats. Red's got a better position, got a better point in their board. White has 3 checkers back, red has 2 checkers back, red's 2 checkers back, one of them split. As far as threats are concerned, you have 3 builders to make the bar or the 4 or the 3-point. And also on a mundane number like 3-1, you can make the 20 points. So I'm for sure doubling. But I'm not passing. I like the double. 5 away, 5 away. You can get some pretty exciting redoubles in, and they might have more difficulty in taking than just in a money game or a long match. I think it's a pretty strong double, probably something like 0.83. I don't know. That's just my guess.
Okay, let's take a look. Bingo. You said 0.83. You were off by 0.07. That's terrible.
No, I was off by more than that. That's just the no double. So I was way off as far as I gave a little White a little more credit for. It's probably because the differential between having the 4-point made and the 3-point made for White is quite substantial, as it appears. So you got a double gap there. Red's position is very robust. I mean, they have no deficiencies. I can't see any bad numbers. There's only like average type numbers and then good and great numbers. And the 20 and having the anchor on the 23 is a little bit of a liability that you may potentially have your 6s play poorly from back there. So it is a very strong double. I'm glad that I got it correct, that it was a take. And misanalyzed the business just a little bit, but it is indeed a take. So,
by the way, when you hit plus plus, it was a huge take, and when you roll it out, it's a small take. So that also illustrates the importance of rolling it out. Something else had funny happened when I was doing the commentary of the final UBC match last week with Dirk. I mentioned Pratt, and we joked around. Well, what about the score? We think it should be Spratt. Score, position, race, and threats, and it's actually right. And you know that when you do Pratt, you're also adjusting for the score, so it's really Spratt now. I think that's the new term.
That's actually one of the best players from the 70s was Jack Spratt.
Jack Spratt, where did
He'd
he
eat no fat, but his wife could eat no lean. Anyway,
All right, batting 1,000. Let's keep going. We got uh, three more. Oops, I don't want to give you the answer. I want to go to number. That was number 4. Yeah, we're going to go to number 5 now.
wait, we just did 3. Where are we?
No, we just did 4. Let me
We
make
did?
sure.
Oh, sorry about that.
Yeah, we just did 4. Now we're doing number 5. You got 4
Oh,
right.
okay. Oh, you're right. Yeah, right.
Don't undervalue yourself.
Okay.
Here's a
No,
guy that can. Here's a guy that can estimate take points between 0.003, but he can't count to 4.
good one. Yeah.
4-1. I got this one wrong. I must tell you.
Oh, 4-1 for red.
Yeah.
All right. I gotta think now. My instinct says to play 13-9, 24-23. Let me think if I want to change that, be a quiz factor, just make the 5 point. No, I'm going to play 13-9, 24-23. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong.
What's your second choice?
Make the 5 point.
Okay, so you haven't gotten to my play yet. There's 2 other plays. One is the play,
13-9, 6-5.
yeah, and there's also 13-8. There's really 4 plays.
Oh, okay.
My play was I did slot the 5 point, thinking I wanted to unstack and have, and I thought, look at all the 2s I'm duplicating. Every single 2 works from elsewhere. I thought it was the right play. It was very wrong. Your play is good. I don't think it's the best. I think 13-9. Let's see, 13-8 is better, which surprised me. It took a rollout to get it, and you can see it's not dark green, so it's not 100% sure. I should roll this out more, but my slot. First of all, tell me why my slot was so bad.
Well, okay. So if you look at the race is decent for red right now. So they're up 14, and you could get hit. Obviously you don't want to play like scared, but if you got hit here, that would really harm your race. And I mean, you can't argue with XG, otherwise why use it? But I'm not seeing 13-8 as a play that, like, now that I see it, like, oh yeah, I definitely want to play 13-8 going forward. It seems unusual to me to like play stiff like that, and it doesn't seem like there's that great a harm in moving 24-23 with the ace after playing 13-9. So I guess there's some jokers, double 2, double 4, 6-4, where you're probably going to get put on the bar, and maybe that's enough, because otherwise, what's the big difference whether checkers on the 24 or the 23? So that was just talking about my play versus XG's play. But as far as your play is concerned, let's take a look at that again. Slotting. Well, I guess you're getting a hit a third of the time, and it's costing you in the race, and you can otherwise be productive anyway. I don't know though. I'm like having difficulty.
Let me take a shot at this. The reason, correct me if I'm wrong, the reason XG's play might be better than yours is the cube is in the middle. You're up in the race. You play safe, and if things go well, you can double. Could that be part of it?
No, because you are so far from a double as red. The position is very involatile currently. I mean, if you stack, the argument to like say you're getting close to a double by stacking is there's no way, because you haven't even escaped the back checker yet. If red came out with a 6, let's just say white rolled a 6-2 and made the 4 point, and then red rolled 6-5, they'd still probably be far from a double. So
I see.
I don't see that as being the reason that you want to play smaller before you've doubled. There is an element to that that's possibly true, but
well, let's assume for a second that XG is right, which is usually a good assumption. I'm willing to bet you that if I showed this position to 20 giants, the majority of it would make your play.
Yeah, I don't want to bet against myself, so yeah.
There are a lot of plays that we call non-human plays that XG makes, and humans learn them eventually. But you have to see it enough times to believe it, and you have to play with it. So I understand your play, but and now I see why my play is wrong. But my play just looks so cute to duplicate all those twos. I couldn't think of a two that wasn't duplicated. So
I
I
mean,
love.
maybe if it was a situation where if you were down in the race and outboarded, you might take the risk of making a more bold play, presuming that they didn't give them a double. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm
Okay.
having a little difficulty on this one.
Well,
Honestly.
I'll send you the position, not that you need it, because I know you'll remember it, and you can play with it, and we'll both learn from it. Okay,
Okay.
let's move on. Uh, and number 6. Uh, this is a white on roll cube action,
So white is 5 away, red is 3 away.
right?
So yeah, I can see that red's pretty far ahead in the race, but white's got, and white could have some problems getting out. I don't like the fact that the builder that used to be on the 6 points on the 4 point now.
You're talking
Uh,
about Red's builder here, yeah.
yeah. I mean, I'm 5 away and I've got a 5 prime. I know I'm down in the race a lot. I'm very happy to double this. There aren't that many. Double twos is not so good. And 2-1, that'll play. So there aren't that many numbers that are pretty harmful to break red's prime. So an average number might be, well, there's no average number because there's a pretty big variance between like the really good numbers and the kind of mundane numbers. But if you just escaped with like a 3-2, if your opponent comes up with an ace, they probably still have a take. So, but you're more than likely going to escape, and they're more than likely not going to get to the edge, and you're 5 away. So even with the big race deficit, I'm going to double this as white, regardless of whether it was correct or not. Just because I think a lot of people as red wouldn't be too happy to play this game. The tougher part for me is trying to figure out whether this is a take or not. I mean, you are way ahead in the race. You have an equivalent size board, not strength of board, but you have equivalent size board as red. There, white might not get a checker out. I mean, if he rolls like 4-1, 4-3, 3-1, but they all play the checker off the 18 point, and then red does not have that strong a counterattack because they've lost the builder off the 6 point. And if this was like a money game, for sure I would take, and maybe it's not even a double. I'm very happy to double at 5 away. And now the question still remains, which I haven't answered yet: is this a take for red? Yeah, for red. Wow, that's the tough part. I guess it probably is a take. I'm not real happy about it, but I would just say double take.
Okay, you and I would have gotten to the same answer about giving the cube, but I do it the way I teach religiously is I start with Woolsey's law, and I guarantee you, had you done that, because you had difficulty on the take, you wouldn't have had to do very much to know it's a double because that's Woolsey's law. If you're not sure it's a take, you just double. So so we both agree on the double, but we would have gotten there different ways, which I'm sure we do a lot of things different ways. And the take, I really thought this was a big pass. I was shocked to see it was a take. And again, you're right. It's a small take. You had trouble with the take, and trouble is the right answer. Anybody who's 100% confident about anything that's a .033 is fooling himself. So you are absolutely right on with this one. It's a take, and you had a right to be concerned about it. Now, you mentioned for money. I didn't run this for money. Let's just take a look. What did you think it was for money?
Well, I mean,
Is it
the answer
more?
is obvious now that I've seen the
Yeah.
situation for match score, that if it was even, it would be a pass for money. It seems like it would be a pass for money. If it's such a bare take it when your opponent's doubling from 5 away, if it was like, even differential, I mean, you can have, well, let's just see what the answer is here.
It's a bigger take for
Okay,
money.
so I'm just not understanding why it's such a, I think I got it backwards.
You get the score backwards. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
You're more likely to pass. Uh, You're more likely
Yeah,
to,
no, I just, sleep
okay,
deprivation, that's my claim.
all right.
Yeah, so because,
So I had
yeah,
heard,
of course it's a take.
I was taught that it takes an average of 6 rolls for red to go out from this point. And I was thinking, well, by the time he does that, white might make the 9 point or have a bunch of builders out there. So why the hell take the cube? But I was way off on this one. I just
Yeah,
don't see enough play for red, but you
yeah,
did.
I got it backwards because, red was 3 away, had a tough take, but if it was 5 away, 5 away, it'd be an easy take. Okay,
Uh-huh.
great.
Okay, let's go to the last problem. You got them all right, but one, which is great. You're tied for second with everybody, with yourself on previous quizzes that we've done. Okay, number 7, the last one. And this
Oh,
again,
boy.
this is cube action. And again, it's the same score, 5 away, 3 away. And red on roll cube action.
Oh, very, very, very interesting. 3 away. There's a potential to not even double if you're ahead and just go for the gammon. But well, let's think about this a second. So, let me think about it from the take perspective first. So you're outboarded 4-2, and you're down 42 pips in the race. You got 2 checkers on the bar, but you're 5 away. And how easily can you use that cube? Threes are duplicated. That's a little bit in white's benefit. And how many numbers are really like such horrible? Well, double fours, yeah, that's very nice shake. Sometimes it only takes us one number to swing it, but so let's see how the numbers play. All right, so 6s come out, 3s cover, 5s come out, aces create an extra builder, 2s you can move forward. 4s are bad, but like for what? I mean, 6-4 can barely play. So I got to come up with an answer here. I'm down to like a minute and a half on my clock here. I got to make a decision. Uh, Nice structure for white with active builders on it. This is probably the toughest one. So,
I'm glad to hear you say that because I got it wrong.
well, that's a little bit of a hint. You passed the last one, so you probably passed this one, which makes it a take. So I'll say it's a take.
I wasn't trying to help you.
I know that, but I'm just if
Okay.
you're wrong, that's okay.
Is it, so you're saying it's a double and a take?
Probably, yeah, just because of the score and the bad fours.
And you read me right because I did drop it. And
Yeah,
it's not a
I
huge,
may or may
huge
not have
drop.
gotten the correct answer anyway, but
Yeah. I mean, 50% gammon scared the hell out of me and I dropped it. Now you said something during your discussion I found interesting. You mentioned something about the cube vig. I want to test you a little bit because I've tested you before and you've never failed the test. If 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 red doubles and white takes the cube, what is red's recube take point?
um, off the top of my head, is it 33 1/3%?
It's 25.
Okay, then I should actually think about it before giving an answer.
Yeah, and over the board, I promise you, if it happened, you would get it right. You'd think about it.
Oh, yeah, that's correct. Okay,
Yeah,
so yeah,
yeah.
so
And the reason I know it's 25 is I actually talked about this with before, and then I looked it up to make sure I was right. Uh, but that so it isn't that monstrous a cube. 33% would be that's it. That's the recube take point at 4 away is 33%.
is
And
there some way we can somehow change it that double fours is not an anti-joker? How would that impact it? What could we do?
I'm
Uh,
happy, I'm happy to change the position any way you like. I'd like to find out why this is such a take.
it's a gigantic swing on the one number of double fours. It might be redouble pass right after double fours. Uh, let's move 14 to the 13 point. And then put the red spec checker from the 24 to the 22, and then double fours will be able to play. I don't know if that's too much of a difference, but this should be a pass. This should be a clear pass here. So now there's no anti-joker double fours, and you also have your
Oh my
yes.
God, look how much that changed it. Oh
Yeah.
my God. Just because of that one anti-joke
Well, we
roll?
did move one of the blocking points, but it, you know, from the 14 from the 11 point to the 12 point doesn't seem like it changes the blocking aspect of it that much. And is there any other number that plays? Double fives isn't very good, but it's playable. But it has to do with that one anti-joker that's so severely bad, and maybe some other aspects of it, because we move the outfield point and we move the back checker forward.
So because of a one roll, a 2.78% possibility of that one roll, that changes everything. I just,
Yeah,
wow.
because actually, let's go back to the original position, and then give red the double fours, and then see what the cube action is for white.
Is this the original?
Yeah, this is it, and then double fours for red.
Well,
Yeah, so you lose the game. Well, actually, we don't have the cube. We don't have the cube turned though. We have to put the cube on white side.
It's still gonna, oh,
Now it's like too good to double.
well, let's make the play and look.
Yeah, excellent. Yeah. Yeah, but you actually
Now we put white on roll.
no, hold on a sec. You're gonna leave a checker on the 7 and play 6 to 2 though. No, not that one. That was already there. There's gonna be a blot on the 4 point regardless. It was something like that. Yeah, that is it. Okay, so yeah, so
It's too good.
so you have one number that turns the game from, you know, all of a sudden, but white can play on here.
Yeah. Well, again,
Well, that is part of the reason why it's the main reason why it's a take. It's just that one number.
wow. Wow. This game is too damn hard. For me, it is not for you. You've proven it's not too hard for you. So thank you for doing this. You got all right but one, which is what you usually do. And keep in mind, anybody who's watching this, I'm not just showing random positions. I'm showing positions that I think are very tough. So I guarantee you, if I showed your average championship level player these 7 positions, they'd get a lot more wrong and they'd be very unsure of a lot of the answers. So thank you, Steve, and tune into my channel, which has a lot more quizzes and interesting things. And I also recommend you go to the Backgammon Galaxy channel and watch the UBC championships, contender championships, and watch Mochi and Zednik and Dirk in action and other great players, because there were a lot of incredible matches. And I think I had some great commentary, mainly because I had some great people working with me. So I think it's worth watching. All right, Steve.
Thanks for inviting me, Phil.
Oh, my pleasure. Talk to you soon.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.